Whether you're having a not moving off the couch while you watch the game kind of day, or a no time between conference calls kind of day, it can still be a delicious Dunkin' kind of day. And with Dunkin' now available on DoorDash, it's easier than ever to get your faves brought right to your door. So if you're looking for coffees, donuts, and breakfast sandwiches in the morning, craving some afternoon snack and bacon, or in need of Dunkin' refreshers for a PM pick-me-up, we've got you covered. Order now and get your faves brought to your door through Grubhub, Uber Eats, and DoorDash. Price and participation may vary. Exclusions apply. America runs on Dunkin'.
The sweet aromas of the apple fritter, cinnamon roll, and blueberry muffin are hard to resist. So making it the rest of the way home without reaching in your McDonald's bag is no easy task. But nothing worth doing is easy.
Wake up and pair any one of these sweet, fluffy, frittery bakery treats with a McCafe iced coffee. Get any size and any flavor for just 99 cents until 11 a.m. Price and participation may vary.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
So, welcome to the Stephen Shiels Radio Show. Today I'm here on the Discord server with Eric. He's from the United States. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing great. It's nice to be on your show.
Thanks for coming on the show today, Eric. So, Eric, you are studying in college at the moment. Tell us about your experience with college in the United States.
Well, I think the college in the U.S. is studying music is certainly a great experience. I think the most important part of studying music in college is your private teacher, and I'm really honored to be studying with Anthony McGill right now at Juilliard. So I think that's really, and I think he's really helped me to become a better musician. And overall, I really like the school, and yeah, I've had a wonderful music experience so far until, COVID happened. And because of that, like, the experience was very bad for the past entire year, basically, because you're not able to get in-person lessons. Most people aren't on campus because of the lockdown, and overall it's quite a miserable time to be a musician. And I mean, it is, you can't really blame the schools for it, but I really I'm still pretty disappointed about how colleges across the handled COVID, because first of all, like, a lot of them were still charging the same tuition, which is insane considering, in the U.S., like, yearly tuition is about $50,000, and like I'm paying $50,000 for sitting in a Zoom lesson. Like, that's just unacceptable to me. And a lot of my friends actually have taken this school year off just so they can avoid paying basically just like $50,000 for a horrible experience. And that's about how things have been.
Yeah, because I know a college degree in the United States after 4 years, it's about $1 million over there. In Australia, I think mine was worth about 80,000.
Yeah.
Or I went to an institution, so for 2 years, it was about 80,000, but that's on average. How do you cope with paying your tuition fees in the States? Did you have to take out a student loan, or are you paying it out front?
You have to take out a loan, and sometimes there are scholarships. Like, for example, there are some conservatories that are completely free and paid for by, like, the trustees. Like, for example, Colburn and Curtis, right? If you get in, it's really hard to get in. It's like about like a 1% acceptance rate, and if you do get in, the benefit is you don't have to pay anything. It's all paid for. But yeah, I think average students going into music, they usually have to take out quite a hefty loan, and then with everything, with all the costs that comes with being a musician, like you gotta spend money on reeds, you gotta try out mouthpieces, you gotta buy clarinets. It's really tough, and a lot of students come out of college just really
In debt.
in huge financial troubles, and it's not pretty.
I know, see, with universities in Australia, we have something called vet fee help, or HEX, where it's paid by the government. And then once you start earning $45,000 a year, that's when they take, say, 10% of your pay to pay it back. But if you don't, well, they can't.
It does sound like a much better.
Unless you took out a student loan, that's a different story. That's something I'd stay away from. I do know that college in the United States is, I've heard, very competitive to get in. They have higher expectations. Is that true?
I'd say it depends on what school you go to, because there's the United States is a decently large country, and there's a lot of places you can go to college. And for music, there are still like a ton. There's still tons of options, and there's very selective music schools. Like for example, I mentioned Colburn and Curtis, and like there's like Northwestern. Like there's a whole list of just very hard to get into music schools, because the people teaching are all very famous, and then there's also the other music schools, which usually aren't that hard to get into, and they still have, I think, decent teachers. And I think for those music schools, like, the admissions isn't as competitive. I think, like, out of high school, like, someone who is really into clarinet and music can probably, if they're not extremely talented, they can get into just one of the normal schools and study with a professor there.
Eric, we've got some other people joining the Discord server. Our chat.
Oh yeah. If I think if they want to speak, like, they can probably introduce themselves.
Do I have to do anything on my end or not?
No. I think if they speak, it'll come through on your end.
Alright. Now, yeah, because I did my university degree in 4 years. I did it in clarinet. I finished in 2018. But
how do you describe your experience in Australia? Because I know it's probably a little bit different.
You get a lot of bludgers because a lot of students think, well, I don't have to pay the money out of my pocket. A lot of them didn't attend class. I don't know if it's like that in the States, if they have...
Oh, I think it still happens, even when people pay.
Are you serious? I thought they'd be strict on attendance, because I know some universities have an attendance policy and they can fail you for the
year.
They
do, but I mean, like, sometimes people just do whatever.
Yeah, no, and because students aren't paying it out of their pocket, a lot of them fail. Again, well, you're an adult, you can do what you want, but I saw it as something I really wanted to do, although you don't need a university degree to be a musician, but it helped to an extent, but it doesn't give you real world experience until you become an entrepreneur like myself.
Yeah. I think for college you get you get as much of it. The more you put into college, the more you get back. So if you're going to college just thinking, I'll just do whatever, the college degree won't be beneficial to you at all. Whereas, like, in your case, if you, like, go into it very passionate, right, like you'll get a lot more out of the degree than, like, say, other people, even though, like, maybe they pay the same amount, right?
Eric, a degree to me means it's not the end of the world. Lifelong learning is the best thing. There are musicians out there that don't even have a degree, and like a lot of the jazz legends just gig.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think it's certainly not necessary. There's a lot of people with degrees are sometimes not even that great of players. While, like, people without degrees can also be exceptional musicians.
Yeah, it's it was a lot of work, but put that aside, I mean, I found it got very narrow-minded, and for 2 years, Eric, I got fed up of music. I didn't even write, didn't touch a clarinet, just was fatigued of it, needed a break for 2 years. Didn't do anything music-wise.
I see. And do you think that was a result of being in college, or was that, or was there other causes?
4 years of study and 2-3 hours a day practice started to get to me. Needed to go on holidays. Went on a meditation retreat after the day of my graduation in the Blue Mountains. Just needed to clear my head,
Yeah, I mean, I do agree. I think all of the work that you have to do in college, it really it's a big burden, and especially I think classical musicians, you're expected to just practice, just drill all of these excerpts, play the Mozart concerto. Learning orchestral excerpts, after a while, you start to lose. You don't see why you're doing it, right? Because, like, it's really all pretty dumb. Like, you're playing as a machine, not a musician. Right?
Yeah.
You're just
See,
constantly.
I auditioned for the Sydney Symphony Fellowship audition, and I think it was Beethoven, Stravinsky, the first movement of Mozart Clarinet Concerto. I did that, put a lot of work into it. It was a no, but it sort of switched me off orchestral playing.
Yeah, I mean, it is quite tough, like, considering these fellowships, they often take, like, just a handful of people, but, all of the clarinet students are going to go and have a try at it.
Yeah, I find the Sydney, or not just Sydney Symphony, any symphony orchestra, well, there is a bit of politics involved. If they don't like the way you played Beethoven's, I think it's Beethoven's fifth, that when it's got that staccato passage, if they didn't like the way you articulated it, or you're a quaver out, it's a no in their books, because they want you to play it the way the conductor wants you to play it. Although
yeah, I mean, it's all really ironic when in music school you're just in music school you just have to play the same thing mechanically, but at the end, in the auditions, the jury are still going to take make very subjective decisions on the applicants. Like, if people have preferences on, whether you play the staccatos short or long, or if or how you do your dynamics, and if they don't like the way you're interpreting the music, like, they're just gonna throw you out. And I think, yeah, it is quite stupid, and for that reason, orchestral playing is, I think, quite a tough road to go down.
Yeah, it was advised to me, don't bother with it, which was understandable. I mean, at least I had a try of an audition, but then I just thought, nah, not for me. I always wanted to compose music. I think, I found where I am now at Shiels Productions. Teaching as well, going to start teaching clarinet and guitar, and podcasting as well. I think that's what I'm best at,
Yeah, that is really... I've listened to your podcasts before, and I thought they were they're nice to listen to.
Mm. But when you're doing a college degree in the United States, I know that you get all your room and board paid for. Is that correct?
I think it really depends on the situation and like what the tuition includes, but yeah, like room and board, like sometimes it incurs like even extra costs on top of like the already expensive tuition.
What happens if students in the United States can't pay off their study loan? What?
Well, I mean, what happens when you don't? When you can't pay a loan, you have to default on it. So, I mean, yeah, it does happen quite a lot.
Yeah.
And it is a big problem in my opinion. Just like the way like higher education is in the U.S.
Happens in Australia too, but no one really talks about it. If you take out a student loan for a private tuition, it can happen here. People will default on it. Are you gonna finish your degree?
I'm not sure right now because with COVID, it really has impacted the way I've seen things, and I've been like rethinking my decisions and like what I'm gonna do with my life. How's it in Australia right now?
It's all gone online. Well, all the universities are finished for the year because it's getting towards Christmas. But they did it all online on Zoom. The ensemble classes wouldn't have been going, would have been cut during the pandemic. But yeah, just online. I hate.
Yeah.
Look, I don't like online learning, Eric.
Sorry?
Hang on a sec. I don't like online learning. I just fall asleep.
Oh yeah, no, I absolutely get that. I mean, I think online learning is absolutely terrible, no matter what the subject is, but especially for music. And like I think with COVID, music is very dead. Like no matter how hard or what the institution is trying to do to make it seem like that there's still some hope with music, when you can't even get like two people in a room together, like it just doesn't work, right? Like first of all, the sound quality that's going over Zoom is impacted a lot by just technological limitations, right? And also it's just that's just for private lessons. Like even more so, you can't have chamber music, you can't have ensemble playing. I think it takes a lot of the fun out of music, and it's just made it very dead. Like even more dead than it already is.
Yeah, I mean, going to a Zoom concert is just shit. I mean, it's just watching something through a computer screen is just boring. Like I follow wrestling because I like to watch wrestling, and they were still going in the middle of the pandemic. UFC.
Oh yeah, I mean, I think with wrestling is I would assume that, since it's only two people, right? If one of them have COVID, then, like,
Although,
I think it's the same reasoning for, like, sports in general.
well, Dana White on his UFC, Instagram, they were testing all the wrestlers, UFC for COVID, like before every event. Every event, they were testing them like crazy.
Oh, yeah, of course. Like, that is important.
You know?
But I think for sports, it's easier because a lot of them are, first of all, outside, and also, the people who are, the most important part are just people on the stage. Like, the audience can watch from pretty much anywhere. Although, like, it is great to be, like, live and watching, but you can also just, watch from the television, and that's still pretty satisfying. Well, like, for ensembles, you gotta rehearse rehearse indoors, and then also for music, obviously the sound's different when you're live compared to listening it on, say, YouTube, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'd rather be at the venue.
Oh yeah, I would much rather be at the venue. Like, honestly, I can't. I mean, I've never gone to a virtual concert before, and I don't think I ever will, because it would be stupid to spend money to listen to. I mean, I don't think there are even virtual concerts, because people see that it's pretty insane to charge tickets for something that's online.
Yeah, it goes to show, like, have you heard of All Elite Wrestling, AEW? And then you got WWE, and then UFC. Goes to show that they're a pretty strong company to keep working during the pandemic, because they could have shut down.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But they had their own little. I think WWE was doing it at the Performance Center, and All Elite, they got their own venue as well.
Yeah, I think it is impressive for these things to stay running, because COVID is a tough time for basically every single industry.
My honest opinion with the orchestras, look, they should have just played, but with an empty crowd, and just filmed the concerts. But
and I think, well, first of all, I think the problem is you're not going to get a lot of ticket sale with that, so they don't really have a reason to do it. And also the fact that string instruments less so, but wind instruments like clarinets, French horns, like are really bad with COVID, because the spit goes flying everywhere.
Well, you'd have to.
A big risk.
You'd have to have COVID-19 to do that, but if they had before every concert, just was, I don't know, testing all the orchestra players and isolating them, and
but you also need, like, rehearsals, and you probably need to test people before rehearsals if you want to prevent transition completely, and it would just be a logistical nightmare to try to do concerts. But I think maybe chamber music, they could do things with that, but like full orchestras, I think that's just impossible.
Yeah, because have you heard of a rugby league that got suspended for 6 months, but then they started back up again, and all the teams had their own hotel room. They couldn't leave. They had to isolate and train.
I mean, if you want to do orchestra concerts, you basically have to do the same thing to players, except that you're not even getting a lot out of it, because you're just playing to a microphone, right?
Oh, but if they're making ticket sales on live streaming, that's another form of income. They could have done it on YouTube, I don't know, Zoom, live streamed it.
Well, let's be real. Like, would you pay money to see a Zoom concert? Like, I don't think so. In fact, I wouldn't see a Zoom concert even if you paid me.
The tickets, they'd have to drop the prices in tickets, of course, but at least they're getting something out of it. That's just my opinion, Eric. I mean,
Yeah.
I know it's
I mean,
not the
it's
same.
just my opinion, right? But I think it's like it would just be really hard for them to do anything in general. But I think chamber music would work a lot better under the pandemic compared to full scale orchestral stuff, and maybe they can even have like a small audience for that. And I think that might be, and I think that's what people have been doing. Like I've seen outdoors chamber concerts around me in the summer, of course, and those have been like pretty cool. And I think like I got like those were great experiences. Like despite all of the obstacles to music, but right now there's like like where I am there's it's below freezing outside, and you certainly can't go outside and play clarinet.
Well, I know in the United States in the summer, you guys were getting like how many cases a day of COVID-19?
We still are. I mean, it's even worse now.
Yeah, because it's winter, isn't it? I mean, we just had in New Sydney, we had a cluster in the northern beaches. Some 15 people ended up getting it. So, best to avoid the hot spots. But, yeah, I was surprised because you were getting, 40-degree weather and people were still testing positive to it.
Oh, I mean, yeah, people just, I guess they just don't care here.
Yeah.
Like, if you look at the COVID curve, in the U.S. since, January, the cases have just been, like, the daily cases, they've just been going up. Like, it never really slowed down.
Is social distancing strict in the United States? Because we have, things in Sydney where you have to check in at a restaurant with your phone. What's the...
Oh, again, it varies.
Yeah.
Depending on where you are. And, like, some places have, better policies, and other places just have, like, people going around doing whatever. And, yeah, I mean, it's certainly... That's why, like, some places in the U.S. are hit a lot harder than the others, because like some states have just handled it terribly, and the federal government's not going to do a lot about that.
What state are you from, Eric?
I currently live in New York right now.
Yep. And are you in a lockdown, or what's happening in New York that you can share with the audience?
There's not much right now. I mean, like, I've stayed home basically for the past few weeks, and I think the restrictions are really. I think I've heard on the news that they're reinstating a lot of restrictions because the cases are just going back up.
I know in Canada, they're, I think, heading into another lockdown. Germany, France, England, they've gone into a second lockdown.
Oh, yeah. I think I've seen that Europe have been having some trouble with the second wave, and I think a few months ago, I saw, one of my friends, he studies in Germany, and I saw him playing Scheherazade. I think it was like June or something, with like full orchestra. I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. And then like right now, I think they just shut down again.
Yeah, Melbourne got hit with a second wave. They went into stage 4 restrictions where you had to legally wear a face mask. You couldn't leave the house more than 1 hour a day. Everything, it was like a ghost town.
Oh, yeah, I mean...
They've only just come out of their lockdown. There was no retail stores open. You could only go to the pharmacy or doctor. Scary shit.
Yeah, quite terrible. I think it's... Like, it's just the failure of these policies in general. I think, like, whenever they do lockdowns, they're pretty half-assed about it. And they don't, if they don't do it for exactly long enough, and like few weeks later you got locked down again, and people think that this is bullshit, and like they don't listen to like obviously, like, if you're like locked down and like unlocked down every few weeks, like people are gonna like
get fed up,
start disobeying it, right? And then like that's, I think, what we've been seeing in the U.S. For a lot of parts of the country, and that's why like it's been a little bit out of control in certain places.
There's nothing you can do. The Stanley Cup final was played on an empty crowd as well. Do you watch ice hockey?
Really,
You an ice hockey fan?
No, I don't follow it a lot.
What about baseball or gridiron?
I mean, I'm more of a soccer guy, I think.
Yep. Yeah, I don't mind watching ice hockey, actually. Yeah, it's just like, wow.
Yeah, it is a cool sport.
I more support...
Australia?
No, it's not big. Baseball's not big here. We have cricket, soccer, rugby league, rugby union. That's about it. Athletics.
What do you think's the biggest sport in Australia?
Biggest sport in Australia?
Yeah.
Cricket. It's pretty popular. Okay. We do watch boxing, UFC as well, but, when it's rugby season or AFL, Aussie rules, but I like to watch wrestling. That's my sport to watch.
Oh, that's cool.
But yeah. Yeah, Eric, it was fantastic with you on the podcast today. Where can the audience find you on the social media?
I think I'll just stay relatively low key for now.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they can find me on this Discord. So.
Yep.
So yeah, it's been very nice talking to you.
You too. Alright, thank you for listening to today's episode with Eric from the Discord server. It was fantastic. Also too, I've got my music on Amazon Music, Spotify as well. Check out my latest and greatest single, Apocalypse. Also my music videos on YouTube, To Live Is To Die, Death and Life, and Judas. Thank you for this episode. Please remember to turn on your notifications in your podcast app. Give my show a rating on the Apple Podcasts as well. Share this episode on your social media. And remember to subscribe to the podcast. Take care. See you later. I will finish the show with my single that I've published for 2020 called Apocalypse.
Hike the trail? Check. Order takeout? Check. Schedule heart checkup? Done. We've all adapted to a new way of living. Keep your healthcare on schedule with Johns Hopkins Medicine, where your health and safety are our highest priorities. We're ready to care for you through virtual and in-person visits across Maryland and the greater Washington region. Your health, our experts, safely caring for you. Schedule your care now. Learn more at hopkinsmedicine.org/safe.
The sweet aromas of the apple fritter, cinnamon roll, and blueberry muffin are hard to resist. So making it the rest of the way home without reaching in your McDonald's bag is no easy task. But nothing worth doing is easy.
Wake up and pair any one of these sweet, fluffy, frittery bakery treats with a McCafe iced coffee. Get any size and any flavor for just 99 cents until 11 a.m. Price and participation may vary.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.